Hey guys, Matt here. So today we're going to be unboxing the package I received today. It's from JBA Off-Road. They jumped on board with the build and sent me their HD upper control arms. So let's open up the box and check it out. So this box here, I've already opened them up, but just to kind of give a quick glance. But I ended up getting a couple extra upper ball joints. So just to have some spares. So they sent me the recommended grease as well, and then just all the hardware for the spare ball joints. So that'll kind of go into the drawer in the back, and then I'll have that as the spare tools and spare parts that I usually carry. So yeah, so let's unbox the upper control arms here. So yeah, they send a certificate for their lifetime warranty on their upper control arms. They write a personal letter as well, so that's pretty awesome. Got a couple stickers as well, DVD, and they also sent me a t-shirt. I love t-shirts, so can't wait to wear that. But yeah, so let's get this open here. It's nice and packaged. Gonna destroy it getting it out, but extremely fast shipping. The process was basically like straightforward, super easy. I received them, I'm from Canada, so I did receive them in approximately 2 business days, which is extremely fast. So yeah, fully assembled, ready to go. These ball joints, they offer, like he has them all machined for 90 degrees, and yeah, extremely heavy duty. I think the difference between the standard and the heavy duties is that they do offer the gussets. So that's what adds the heavy duty application, which running a 4Runner on 38's, I thought that seemed necessary. So yeah, we got all the washers for beside each bushing, so once you install them. And then yeah, got 2 control arms, make sure. So yeah, 2 control arms, we're gonna get them installed right away. So I'll get one side done, and then we will look at doing, I'll record the other side. So I'll get the driver's side done, and then we'll do the passenger side and show you guys how to do it. All right, so we're gonna remove the wheel. I installed the driver's side already. It was pretty straightforward, other than like trying to squeeze the long bolt out. So yeah, we're gonna get started on the passenger side, and I'll kind of give you guys a walkthrough on it. So let's get to it here. All right, so we're just gonna take the wheel off. All right, so we're gonna start by undoing the ball joint, and then we'll be able to kind of let it sit down and off to the side, and then we'll be able to start undoing the upper bolt. I don't have a lot involved, so I don't run the front sway bar. These are Icon 2.5s with the resis. I have the heavy friction spindle gussets, and then I also have my modified high caster lowers that I run. So yeah, I also recently installed the Siberian poly bushings on the lower control arms as well. So I also actually run the KPO Off-Road octagons and the cam tab gussets. So my alignment is basically always bang on. It doesn't very rarely get knocked out because obviously it's locked in. So it's basically just like a set the toe and go kind of alignment. So yeah, let's get these upper control arms ripped out. So we got the upper ball joint separated. I'm just gonna undo my ABS wire here and set it off to the side. So now the upper control arm is basically loose and ready to be, we just have to take that long bolt out. So it's honestly, the upper control arms are pretty straightforward. There's not a lot to them when it comes to installing them. This is my third set, so I ran a stamped steel KSP initially, had no problems with it. They released the KSP forged aluminum, which I've been running this arm for over a year now. I ran the forged stamped steel ones for, it was like a year. So basically now JBA, they have their heavy duty uppers that I'm going to be installing. So they just seemed more suitable for big tires, and obviously the heavy duty aspect of just having a good quality control arm. So nothing against these guys, but JBA is the best of the best when it comes to sticking with like a mid-travel setup. So yeah, so we're gonna take out some of these body clips, and then I'll be able to get my arc mud flaps out of the way, and then I'm gonna drop the resi out of the way as well, and then I'll be able to fully access that bolt. We'll slide it out, swap the new control arm in. So try to salvage these body clips as much as possible, but if not, then we'll have to grab some new ones, which it's starting to look like that. Body clips these ones have probably been in here for some time now, so I just needed enough to access the bolt. So we're going to use a 19 mil and I'm going to try to do this one without having to remove resi, but we'll see how it goes here. If I can do it without removing the resi, sweet. If I can't, then I'll just move the resi out of the way. There we go. So yeah, it's loosening up. Got grease all over the place, so I'm gonna just try and clean up as much of it as possible so it doesn't make a huge mess. Depending on where you're at in the country, if you're in the salt belt, this may be a little bit harder. I am, because Canada, or like mid-Canada, the prairies, they like dumping salt all over the roads during the winter, and it takes a toll on our vehicles. So I spend quite a few weeks trying to clean up the frame and try to stay on top of the rust, especially with like using, I like to use wool wax. So I try to coat the frame during the winter inside and out, but my frame isn't perfect. So there's a lot of people that have had experienced very bad frames, and some I've seen on the like Facebook and stuff that some are like pretty awful, and it's crazy that they didn't come out with a recall on it, but yeah. So I'm installing these control arms. I am lifted 2.5 inches. So these JBAs are rated for anywhere from 1 to 3.5 inches. So they give you some alignment specs to go off of. Obviously my alignment specs, because I have modified lowers, I have my own specs I go off of, which on my personal rig, I'm running over 6 degrees caster. Helps clear the 38's a lot better. I do full lock to lock on 38's, so that's a huge thing. I do have like a tubbed firewall, which I did when I initially went 37's, without the lower control arms being modified. But then I modified the control arms and I have like well over an inch. So it's just nice having a little bit extra room when you do have if you do have large tires. So I got the nut off. We're gonna slowly slide this large bolt out. For the most part, if your stuff isn't seized, the bolt will nearly push right out. So it's pretty sweet that way. So we're gonna crawl up into the engine bay and I'm gonna remove the bolt from there to be able to get that long bolt out. All right, so I got the bolt out pretty much here. We're just gonna go up through this way, try and get the rest of the bolt out, slide as far as possible into the engine bay so that you can get the arm out. So there we go. So KSB arm is now out and we'll be able to get ready to put the JBA in. We're just gonna clean up some of this grease. I was pretty religious when I greased it, so greased it as much as possible to reduce any noises and stuff like that. But the arms are still in pretty good shape and still usable, so we'll be able to keep them as spares or sell them or whatever the case is. So I'm just gonna gather all the washers. One thing I noticed with the other side when I installed it is JBA sends 2 different size washers. They have the thick washers and then they have some thin washers. So in order for me to install the driver's side, I did have to use a small washer on each side. But basically, yeah, we're ready to throw the JBA in and then we'll get everything torqued up and bolted back together and get the wheel back on. So all right, so we're just gonna do a quick mock-up just to see where it's sitting and what bushings we may require on each side. So we may only require putting these small guys on the middle like I did have to do on the driver's side. So we'll try it out, see what it looks like. But yeah, make sure you put all your bushings on. This is the heavy duty JBA arm, so they do have the added gussets. And yeah, love the ball joint design. Back in my mini truck building days, I had a 05 Sierra, and I had some upper control arms, and it utilized a similar upper ball joint, which is super sweet because it's super easy to bolt in. So it's easy to replace. So like JBA says, you can basically swap the ball joints and it doesn't affect the alignment. So which is pretty sweet. So get one of the new washers on the bolt, and then we're going to try and slide this all together getting the washers on is probably one of the trickiest parts about this whole thing. So you're trying to get the washer on, or keep the washer on, but then also slide it into the bushing, and then but also get the inner washer in place as well. So it just takes a little bit of patience, but once you get it started, it's not too bad. It's almost easier if you can let the bolt hang out a little bit. And then kind of push it in place, let it slide up, and then it might go. But the driver's side's definitely harder because the battery's in the way. So it's one of those things that you just got to be able to get your hand in there enough. And obviously removing your splash guards makes it a lot more accessible. I'm just trying to do as less as possible to make my install a little bit easier, but a little bit more messing around. And we'll go up top and wiggle the bolt back in. All right, so now we'll be able to slide the next one in, which is the other thin one. Obviously using flashlights makes life way easier, but so yeah, this side is being a little more tricky with like the allowable space to slide the bushing in. Which is fine, just a little more dangling. Might need to use a pry bar a little bit just to shuffle it over or help encourage it. Mainly just to help get it in. There we go. There we go. Now we'll go and slowly push the bolt back in. There we go. So now all I have left is to just slap the last bushing on and the nut, and we'll be able to snug it up. Perfect. Pretty straightforward. Easy peasy. So I wasn't going to install these till next week, but I have a car show tomorrow and I have to be on the road at 5:30 in the morning. So in typical fashion, let's install these because we received them today, and I basically have done like a full front suspension refresh essentially. So with like the new lower control arm bushings, and now the JBA's, I'm just trying to tighten up the front end as much as possible for the 38's. Just because it felt pretty awesome already, but what's a little bit more ride quality gonna do? So, and I have a big trip coming up in August. I'm gonna head to BC, Alberta for like 7 days. So this is basically like preventative maintenance, get the rig ready to do some wheeling, a little bit of overlanding, camping, that kind of stuff. So looking forward to it, going with a group of buddies. Should be a good time. Anyone wondering, it's a 2007 Toyota 4Runner. I do have the 4-liter V6. I am re-geared to 488's. I do run KMC grenade beadlocks. They are the real beadlocks, for anyone wondering. They are 17x9 with a negative 38 offset. So just having like a quality control arm added into with everything else just seemed like the right move. So I run Icon 2.5s. They've been great. I thought they were going to be almost too rough with my build, but they've actually been amazing, and especially once you start adding some weight to it, they actually ride really nice. So I'm still on the 650-pound springs, so maybe someday I might get a different spring, and then that way I can maybe reduce the preload, but I'm at the max amount of preload that's allowable. So they've been actually great. No complaints with them. So yeah, so we're gonna tighten up the lower control arm bolt. I'm just gonna snug it up with the impact, and then I'll torque it. And then I'll be able to torque the upper control arm bolt as well. So, and then we'll give it a little bit of, give these bushings a little bit of grease, and then we'll give the ball joint some grease as well. And then we'll be able to put the tire back on and torque the wheel, and then be good to go. It's going in for an alignment next week, so should be good for the trip for tomorrow. So I have to drive roughly like 200 kilometers. So yeah, let's get this snugged up, and we'll button everything back up. All right, JBA's instructions say to torque the upper ball joint to 60 foot-pounds. And then just make sure you fasten the ABS wire in place. Good solution for the ABS wire clamp. I just use these little 1/4-inch hose clamps. They're like the P clamps. So you can buy them at like Princess Auto or whatever, Harbor Freight or wherever you're from. And yeah, they just clamp the ABS wire perfectly fine. So yeah, works out. And then we're gonna shoot it with the grease. For myself, I'm just gonna pump in about 10 to 12 shots into the bushings. That typically lets it start like pumping out. So once it pumps out, it's pretty good for me, because then it gets into like the grooves on the bushings. So perfect. And we'll give about 5 to 6 pumps into the ball joint. And then yeah, basically what I like to do is I like to grease my ball joints and bushings on every oil change. So every oil change I will typically put a few pumps into the bushings, and then that way we're all good. Never have enough. So yeah, so we'll be able to we're gonna slap the JBA sticker here like I did on the other side. I thought that looked pretty sweet, so we'll clean it up a little bit. All right, so that's everything. We wrapped it up. Control arms are all installed. So yeah, if you guys can, please give me a like. If you liked what you've seen, subscribe, and yeah, I'll have a few different videos coming out in the near future here, so I really appreciate it. You guys take care. Have a great day.